Hey guys, this is Module 5, Lesson 10. This is really similar to Lesson 9. We usually combine them, but I wanted to go over this one a little bit more practice. Division is a little bit different, a little bit harder than multiplying to make equivalent fractions. So our objective is I will be able to use the area model in division to show the equivalence of two fractions. So remember, equivalence means they are equal. They have the same value. And really, when we're working with division, we are working backwards. So, for example, if we had this and we were doing multiplication, we would have 2/3 first. We would have started with 2/3, decomposed it into two more rows. So we would have multiplied by 2 to make 4/6. But because we're working backwards, we're starting with 4/6 and then they're bundling our columns as if that horizontal line is no longer there. Okay, so for example, this one, it started with 4/6. They bundled each of their columns here, so we have 3 new columns, and there are 2 units shaded in our first column, so that tells us we need to divide by 2. 4/6 divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So you can see our red units. We have 1, 2 of the 3 shaded, so it's equal to 2/3. Okay? All right, so this one, we first need to figure out, well, what is it representing? Well, we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 9/12 is our starting fraction. And we are going to divide to express an equivalent fraction. So really, if you want to think in your mind, if we're going to divide, we're really taking these 2 horizontal lines away. So we want to bundle each of our columns to show what we now have when we divide. So if we bundle each column, which is up and down, I'm not going to take the time to do these perfectly, but I'm going to do one so you can see. So if each of these are bundled, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4 bundles. So we know that our new denominator is going to be 4. And how many of those are shaded? So I have 1, 2, 3 of my 4 shaded. So 3/4 is my equivalent fraction to 9/12. So then what do we divide by to make that equivalent? Well, how many units do I have shaded in this first column? I have 1, 2, 3 units shaded. So if we divide by 3, that'll give us that equivalent fraction. So just like when we multiply, we count how many rows did we make. We made 1, 2, 3 rows. We would have multiplied by 3. How many do we have shaded in our first column? 1, 2, 3. We divide by 3. So if you understand that division is just opposite, we're working backwards in comparison to multiplication, that should kind of help you make that connection. So we're going to take our 9/12 and we're going to divide. Remember, whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. It is the same with division. We have to do the same. Whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So we're going to divide by 3 and divide by 3. 9 divided by 3 gives us 3. 12 divided by 3 gives us 4. So 9/12 is equivalent to 3/4. All right, let's do some more. All right, so let's see, what are we starting with? We are starting with 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We have 6/10. It's our starting fraction. I can find my mouse. 6/10. And then when we bundle, we're going to bundle our columns, which go up and down. So we're going to bundle one here. Imagining that horizontal line is gone. I don't know why whenever I record this way, it makes the mouse a little finicky. Okay, so now how many groups do I have in those red units, those red circles? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 of those are shaded. So I should be able to do division to make an equivalent fraction of 3/5. 3/5. And we're going to use our math to make sure that that is a true statement. So 6 divided by what would give me 3? 10 divided by what would give me 10? Or 5, excuse me. But if we don't know that for sure, then we're going to look at our first column and see how many units in there are shaded. And that's going to tell us what we need to divide by. So my first column, I have 1, 2 shaded. So I need to divide my numerator and my denominator by 2. Does that make my statement true? 6/10 is equal to 3/5. 6 divided by 2, is that 3? 2, 4, 6. Yep. 10 divided by 2, if I chop 10 in half, divided by 2, that gives me 5. That is also a true statement. So 6/10 is equivalent to 3/5. All right. Looking at this one, go ahead and count in your head. What are we starting with? So you should have said 6/8. That's what we're starting with. When we bundle each of our columns, what do we now have? We have 3/4. So now we need to decide, well, what are we going to have to divide by to make this a true statement? You can use your math skills, or we can look and see what do we have in those first 2 columns. We have 1, 2. 2 shaded in our first column. So we will divide by 2. When we get further down with division, something that we're going to learn how to do is to be able to find a common number that is divisible evenly by both our numerator and denominator, and that's how we will divide. But, those basic number facts are really going to help you. Okay, we know that 6/8, well, if I divide by 2, we're breaking it in half when we divide by 2, gives me 3. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 6/8 is equivalent to 3/4. All right, we're going to do one more for today. All right, so go ahead and look at it in your head. What are we starting with? Oh, this is the same. We just did this one. They always do that to me. They give me the same ones. Okay, we will do this one. So go ahead and look at this one in your head. What are we starting with? We are starting with 4/8/12. Okay, then we're going to go bundle our columns. And to figure out what do we now have, I feel like I need to make these a little bit the size of our columns. But you can see we're going to have 1, 2, 3. How many of those are shaded? 2. So our new fraction is going to be 2/3. So how can we prove that with division? 2/3. 8/12 is equal to 2/3. Well, if we use our basic facts, right? We could think backwards. You can think 2 times what gets me 8? 2 times 4. Well, that would be the same for dividing, right? And we can double check that by looking at our column and say, well, how many are shaded in our first column? 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we work backwards, that can also help you find out what do we need to multiply by. So I'm going to take 8 and 12. We're going to divide them each by 4. Is that true for this one? If we work backwards, 3 times what gets me 12? 3 times 4 gets me 12. Whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. And if you're like, oh, I don't know, is that sure? Well, let's do 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 4 is 12. So division, if you understand that it's opposite of multiplication, that's really going to help you because you can just think backwards like I just showed you. But really bundling and unbundling with our area models will help you as well. All right. So we'll keep working on this in small groups this week. If you have any questions, come see me at office hours. We'll work through some one-on-one, but keep working hard. You guys are doing great. I'll see you soon.